The American election is getting interesting. The DNC, of course, is continuing. We'll talk about that in a moment. But of particular interest was the comment today by Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s running mate that he may consider dropping out of where he is and supporting Donald Trump. Have a listen to his running mate, Nicole Shanahan, contemplating that very idea.
There's two options that we're looking at, and one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Waltz presidency because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump.
So it'd be fascinating if they joined forces with Trump, who was asked what he thought of the idea.
Can I ask you about RFK? Because just moments ago, his running mate said that they were considering endorsing you. Have you considered him for a role in the administration, and what role would that be?
Well, we haven't, but I would love that endorsement because I've always liked him.
Would you also consider putting him in the administration?
You're asking me a very unusual question. I haven't been asked that question yet. I like him a lot. I respect him a lot. I probably would if something like that would happen. He's a very different kind of a guy, a very smart guy. And yeah, I would be honored by that endorsement, certainly.
Be a great propaganda coup, Liz, if RFK came over to Trump, but how much difference would it make to his votes?
In certain states, probably significant. I mean, RFK, he's a wild card. He's been running as an independent, and his VP in this interview today was actually quite emotional because both of them, both Kennedy and herself, have been hardcore Dems their entire lives, but had to go independent because the party was not going to endorse him. And so they went independent, and they have copped it from the Dems. Trump has seen lawfare, but so have they. They say that they've even had moles placed in their campaigns who are leaking information back to the DNC. All sorts of untoward things have happened. They've tried to be... Many of them, they were trying to get Kennedy off the ticket in several states, unsuccessfully, thank goodness. But they've reached a point, obviously, where they've realised we don't want to not be a part of the Trump campaign. It's rumoured that this will happen on potentially Friday. Trump's got a big event in LA, so it's strong rumours, we'll see if my sources are correct, that he will actually make this official as early as Friday, which of course is why they're leaking it. This is his VP pick, Kennedy's VP pick. So she wouldn't be saying this if there wasn't a very real possibility that that will be happening in the coming days. But it's definitely interesting because one does wonder, if they were taking votes from the Dems, is this now going to cost them? Will Dems now no longer vote for them? Because the many Dems who feel homeless with regards to a party as well, they don't like the current administration. And so, on the other hand, you've got hardcore Dems who will always vote for a Kennedy by virtue of having the last name. I think it would affect the Trump campaign in a very positive way, personally.
What do you reckon, Joe?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. And this, I think, was from when it was still between Trump and Biden, but I'd heard that, or read somewhere, I think, that that RFK's votes were coming about 60-40 from Democrats. And so that was, I suppose, probably the double haters who thought Joe Biden's just is non-compos mentis, so can't quite bring myself to vote for Trump, but I'll vote for this third guy. But it's interesting that that she said that now they are drawing more support from Trump voters than from Democrats. So the simple laws of mathematics suggest that that would benefit Trump, obviously. And, we're seeing, I think Paul Murray said earlier this evening, that things seem to be tightening. Trump seemed to be getting a little bit of a pickup. And again, once we see, I said, a few people have said, I'm certainly not alone, but, the trend with Kamala Harris tends to be the more people see of her, the more they don't like her. And her...
The DNC has been a great advertisement for Trump.
But the DNC, the DNC machine is amazing. So all these slick set pieces, the ads are really incredible. And that's what's given her this massive, Kamala momentum. But when she is unscripted, when she doesn't have the teleprompter, when she starts spitballing about, how the economy works, because it all just pays for itself, in a debate environment, in a non-friendly fire media environment, in a press conference, who knows what might happen. And so obviously the last thing you want is to know that, you're bleeding more votes to a third-party candidate than your opponent is. So, yeah, bye-bye RFK.
If RFK is going to go to Trump, Liz, he has to do it better than last time when Trump phoned him and they had a private conversation, which was then leaked. So maybe he doesn't want a repeat of that.
Low blow. Well, it seems like they've kissed and made up, because if Trump's actually seriously saying, I wouldn't not consider him for a position in my administration, that's not something that I think even Trump would say very lightly. To the DNC now, it was day 2. Most recently, I get a bit mixed up because they have them at night and it's always our day, but I have subjected myself to watching the entire 2 nights so that you didn't have to. And can I just say, you're not missing out on anything except for a whole heap of this.
My name is Dr. Joey Perella, pronouns she, her, hers. I'm a proud resident of the Garden State. I'm proud to stand with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz because they stand with the LGBTQ community. It's time to turn the page on Trump first. Thank you.
And even more of this.
Georgia, how do you cast your vote?
Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to officially nominate Kamala Harris for president. Five, get loud, another round of shots. DNC, turn out for what?
Amazing.
Zero talk of policy, zero talk of the changes that they're going to exact if they make it to the White House, which is a tough gig, by the way, because you've got this woman promising everyone that things are going to be so much better when she's in power, but you've been in power for 4 whole years. It was just a month ago that the media was telling us the economy's fine under Biden. Now that Kamala's in, the same media is telling us Kamala's going to fix the economy. Like, there are so many double takes. You cannot keep up. Descartes once said, I think, therefore I am. Watching the DNC, I'm convinced that there are a heck of a lot of people who don't think and yet still exist. I wonder if that occurred to him. I wonder if that occurred to him before he died.
Just watching there as the states nominate Kamala, which is largely ceremonial because, of course, it was already done before the convention. But, I mean, this is the mob that's been going on about, democracy is precious, it's sacred. And yet they announced their votes with... who is he? Lil Jon.
Lil Jon. Hadn't heard of him, but I'm going to go and buy the album.
Yeah, well, he's big now.
I'm going to buy his cassette tape.
And they've got transgendered people announcing their pronouns before they announce this. How many people from New Jersey do you reckon would have thought, that person represents
this
me?
is the thing. I'm sure Dr. Joey's lovely and she's fantastic and great or whatever, and she can do whatever she wants and call herself whatever she wants. But again, this is where the activist base of a party is often its own worst enemy and does the worst job. Like, if you are trying, and clearly the Republicans have seized on that and are circulating that, and that's where we got it from, and that's where we find it. But that is going to be where middle Americans, possibly people who weren't planning to vote, who might actually come out and say, I don't know if I really am all on board with all that stuff. That seems just a bit funny to me. They probably won't talk about it. They'll probably keep it to themselves. It'll be like the shy Trump voter we saw at the last election, even if they exist or not, which is still debated. So again, you've got it in an election. I'm a big fan of just keeping it clean, keeping it straight, keeping it down the middle, even keeping it boring if you have to, but just being that, like once you get people, and we've seen all the protesters outside that, Megyn Kelly was talking about earlier, just once people say, if this basket of lunatics are who Kamala Harris is representing and who she's going to give power to, then I reckon there's a whole bunch of people who think, maybe Trump's not so bad after all, and they just go away and quietly do it. So again, this is why you just got to give them. But Lil Jon, he was awesome. What's wrong with him?